Welcome to Damn Good Movie Memories with your host, Brian Davis. This podcast is the cure for your long commute and super boring workday. Hey, this is Brian Davis, and for this week's episode, we're going to keep up with the remake theme, and we're going to do part 2, and that is good remakes, movies that are better than the originals, or at least hold up as well. I had many more than the bad remakes, which was surprising, and so I'm trying to narrow it down to a top 5, and so I'll start with my top 5. I'll come back after I've interviewed other people, and I'll give you the remainder ones. Okay, now for my top 5. So number 5, I actually have The Nutty Professor. Now, I've never been a fan of Jerry Lewis, so this was kind of easy. And so the Eddie Murphy version of The Nutty Professor is way more risque and lowbrow than the Jerry Lewis original from 1963. And I'm pretty sure this was the last Eddie Murphy movie I truly enjoyed. From the non-stop fart jokes and the zaniness, this film ushered in the era of fat suits for actors. The next thing you knew, Martin Lawrence stars in a film series playing Big Mama. Then Gwyneth Paltrow, of all people, does the same thing in Shallow Hal. You can never accuse Hollywood of being original when it comes to repeating the same idea over and over again. Because if it works once, you might as well beat a dead horse.
Sherman, I think I do remember hearing something on TV about colon cleansing. They say everyone should have one. I'm thinking about getting me an appointment and go down and get my colon cleansed thoroughly.
You want your colon cleansed? Fine, I'm gonna clean mine. Yeah, now my colon is clean. I'm talking squeaky clean.
I have a meal. You gonna start breaking gas. Don't break gas and destroy our meal.
Don't tell me to stop. You the one that brought up colon cleansing and all that mess.
I did not say anything about breaking gas. I said that I was gonna get my colon cleansed.
You can talk about putting a tube in somebody's ass, but I can't break wind.
I didn't say nothing about putting no holes up nobody's ass. Please, I
Well, what
said.
you think of colonic is? You think you run the asshole by the car wash?
You choking the baby.
As long as I'm back there, I'll do what I want to do at this table. Case in point.
Who there called my name?
Yeah, I called you if your name is...
Keep in front of me. I taught this between the crack of your ass.
Yeah, you know I can go all night.
Keep it fuck. I hope you fought till your asshole falls out. Oh, baby, too.
Oh, now, see what you made me do? God damn it, I messed up my pants. Damn, Daddy.
You gotta clean them yourself, you rotten.
All right, number 4 from my favorite remakes is The Heartbreak Kid. Now, I'd seen the original Heartbreak Kid starring Charles Grodin on TV many years before the remake. The original kind of bored me, or maybe I was too young to appreciate it, so I wasn't sure what to expect from the updated version. The 2007 version stars Ben Stiller, Michelle Monaghan, and Malin Akerman. After seeing Akerman in the trailer and knowing that I like Ben Stiller movies, I decided to give it a shot. And while some fans will prefer the original, I think my uncle is one of them, I definitely preferred the remake. And this usually doesn't happen to me often. The gags, to me, are better, and Ackerman is really funny and very easy to watch. Okay, number 3 is Father of the Bride. Now, the remake of Father of the Bride with Steve Martin was the first version I saw when it was released to theaters back in 1991. It would be a few years later when I finally saw the original with Spencer Tracy and Elizabeth Taylor. The cool thing about this remake is that it isn't a strict copycat film, not to mention that over 40 years had passed between the original version and the remake. Also, Martin is a comedic genius, and he definitely carries the film along with Martin Short, who plays a great bit part as the wedding coordinator. So this is where the remake isn't necessarily better, but it holds up, and you can actually enjoy both at the same time. Number 2 is Ocean's 11, and so Ocean's 11 is the modern remake based on the 1960 classic which starred the Rat Pack. The 2001 version stars George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Don Cheadle, Andy Garcia, and Julia Roberts. And not to mention the many co-stars like Bernie Mac, Scott Conn, Casey Affleck, Carl Reiner, Elliot Gould, Eddie Jameson, and Xiaobo Qin. Now, I would say the main difference between the remake and the original is the technology and the action scenes. The basic premise is the same, but that's pretty much where the similarities end. And actually, it's sort of nice that both versions stand on their own. And in my opinion, that's when the remakes of classic films work the best. However, I'm going to lean towards I really do actually, as a film, enjoy the remake much more. The Rat Pack version is fun to watch because it's the Rat Pack and you get to see them, but as a whole, the actual plot is way better in the remake. All right, number 1 for my favorite remakes is The Money Pit. This is a terrific remake of the 1948 classic Mr. Blandings Builds His Dream House, which starred Cary Grant and Myrna Loy, two of my favorites. And as a child of the 80s, I of course saw The Money Pit first, so I'm a bit partial to it. Tom Hanks and Shelley Long do an excellent job playing a newlywed couple who purchase a dilapidated home and try to fix it up. Try being the key word. The Money Pit is a really fun 80s comedy, and if you're looking to relax on a weekend and don't want something super serious or depressing to watch, this, of course, is the movie to check out. Now, this is a lot like Ocean's 11, where the technology is upgraded, but you really can't go wrong with either film. I think they both stand the test of time. They both stand up on their own. All right, let's hear what everyone else has to say, and I'll come back and give you some more movies of my favorite remakes. Okay, Josephine's back. She missed the bad remakes. And so what we're going to do is combine, because why not?
Yes, because we can make the rules.
We can make the rules, yes. So we're going to start with favorites, because that's this week's subject, and then we will slide right into bad remakes.
Okay.
So let's hear your favorites.
Okay, so good ones that I liked. So this might be a little controversial. I liked the newish Ghostbusters, the all-female one. I wouldn't say it's better than the original,
but it holds up.
It holds up, and I liked it a lot. I really like the new dynamic. I love Melissa McCarthy, of course, and Kate McKinnon, and
Leslie Jones.
I love her. I thought Chris Hemsworth was hilarious. I love him. Okay, and then the Birdcage. I think someone else mentioned that. I love this one. Calista Flockhart's fantastic, and Nathan Lane. He just really touches you, because I don't. He just wanted to help. Yeah. He just wanted to help, and they're like, get out. Go away for 7 days or whatever. Yeah, but okay.
You only see him, pop up in little bit roles now. He's not really starring anything. I don't know if he's just doing a lot of Broadway now, but...
yeah, I don't know, but I think he's great.
Oh, I think he's good, too. He's perfect in that role. Yeah.
He was so fantastic in that. And then Cape Fear. Honestly, I didn't see the first one, but I really did like... the one with Robert De Niro and Juliette Lewis, and that really scared the shit out of me. Yeah. It was great.
So my favorite scene is the maniacal laugh in the theater, because, here's fun trivia, do you know what movie they were watching in the theater?
The original one?
Yeah, no, the one, so...
No, were they watching the original?
No,
what were they watching?
So Robert De Niro is sitting there laughing like a maniac, and Nick Nolte and his family are sitting there. So what is the movie they're watching on screen?
It was some comedy, right?
Right.
That's kind of juvenile.
Uh-huh.
It can't be Adam Sandler.
No, but it's right along that line. If I give you the actor, you might get it.
Jim Belushi?
John Ritter was in it.
Problem Child?
Yes.
What?
That's what makes it so funny. Yes. Great call. He was laughing that's why it's so funny, because he's laughing like a maniac for Problem Child. That's why it was so funny. So yes, that always cracks me up.
Aww.
Excuse me.
Dad, are you going to let me
Let me see something.
I know what you did. You're a damn pedigree. All right, just get the hell out of here. I got a goddamn campaign. Hey, the one thing you do care about. Okay, then I quit as your son.
So that's a great one. Yeah, De Niro is so good in the Robert Mitchum role, who played the original Psycho in that. So yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did not know this is a remake, but IMDb said it is, so it must be true.
Okay, well,
of course. Enchanted April. That is just one of my favorite movies, full stop. How can you not love Italy in April? And it just, when I first heard about the movie, I thought, when it says, these women kind of escape their dreary London lives and they discover love again, I thought they're going to run off with some hot Italian guy. Yeah. But they fall back, spoiler alert, they fall back in love with their husband. Yes. It's so great. It's really... and Alfred Molina is in it. Jim Broadbent. So many great people. Yeah. Joan Plower. I think she won the Oscar for that.
I think she did. Yeah. You're right.
Ocean's 11, of course.
I agree with you. I think the original holds its place because it's kind of historical. You have all the Rat Pack in their original form. But as a movie, I think that the remakes are much better. I think the plot's better. And obviously made 2 more sequels. So
yeah. And I like... I'm not a huge Julia Roberts fan, but I
Mm-hmm.
thought she was really great as kind of like the prickly. She was kind of prickly in that,
Yeah.
right? And I liked her in that. She did really well. She was really great in
And
that.
then eventually they got Catherine Zeta-Jones, who played a nice role in one of the sequels. I forget which one.
The
but
second one.
Yeah.
I thought she was really great in that
I
too.
thought so too. Yeah.
Okay, The Parent Trap.
Yeah. Yes.
Not a huge Lindsay Lohan fan, but
Uh-huh.
I thought it just came together really well, and I love Natasha Richardson. Yeah. So,
And she passed away, didn't she?
yeah, very tragically. Yeah, she was, I think, skiing, and she
Yeah.
wasn't wearing a helmet, and she hit her head, and
Yeah.
she thought she was fine.
And Liam Neeson's that's his wife, or was his wife?
Yeah, so sad.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, the King Kong one that you mentioned.
Peter Jackson,
Yes, too long.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. I think, was he just coming off Lord of the Rings?
Yeah,
Probably.
exactly,
So people
yeah.
were like, you know what to expect with him.
Sure.
You get your bathroom breaks when you can.
Exactly.
And then
It's like a 3 hour and 20-minute movie or something like that. Like
Yeah.
it's very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then 13 Assassins. Love that one. Don't know what to say.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
great. Good movie.
Yeah.
And then Casino Royale.
Yeah. The
Daniel
James
Craig.
Bond. That was the first Daniel Craig James Bond,
Mhm.
and that really, I mean, it had to succeed because he was coming off Pierce Brosnan. It was successful,
Mm-hmm.
and he pulled it off. I mean, he's
He
the
pulled it
darker
off.
James
Yeah,
Bond.
loved. Is it Eva Green?
Yeah,
Eva Green?
very
yeah,
good.
She was great.
Mhm.
Classic Bond woman. And I can't believe they made a movie about poker. Just playing poker.
I
and
know.
So suspenseful and sexy.
And
yeah.
it's to me better than the original. The original kind of is like the precursor to Austin Powers type of thing almost. So. No, I thought it was very, very good. So
Cool.
those are good. So okay, let's slide right into. Let's get negative now.
Okay,
So
let's
what
get
are your
negative,
least
yeah.
favorite remakes?
Okay, so the first one that came to mind was Love Affair, the one with Warren Beatty and Annette Bening.
Right.
Nothing against those two.
No.
I thought Bugsy was fantastic. I
Yeah.
thought they had great chemistry. But this one, it just fell flat. Maybe because we already knew everything about them and the story. And,
Mm-hmm. And the prior two movies were classics. So you had Cary Grant and Deborah Kerr.
Mm-hmm.
And then the original with Charles Boyer and Irene Dunn. I mean, you really can't go wrong with either of those. They kind of match up. And then you do this one.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they try to match it too closely. And Warren Beatty is just different from Cary Grant.
Yeah.
They're just so different. And same thing with Annette Bening.
Right.
Yeah, so it just fizzled.
That's
for
why I
me.
didn't like when they remade Sabrina with Harrison Ford. I mean, Harrison Ford's great, but
That's another perfect
Yeah.
example. Yeah, it just kind of fizzled.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that it was horrible. It was just, why touch a classic?
Yeah.
You're not going to top Audrey Hepburn, Humphrey Bogart, and William Holden.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. Okay. Yep. Okay, so this is another controversial one. These
Uh-huh.
are two. The Pride and Prejudice remake with Keira Knightley,
Yeah.
directed by Joe Wright, and then the Persuasion remake, I think that was a BBC one,
Mm.
with Sally Hawkins, whom I love.
Mhm.
She's one of my favorite actresses.
Okay.
But I can't help it. I just like the one with the Colin Firth one and Jennifer L. And I love the other Persuasion with Kieran Hines and Amanda Root.
Mhm.
Alice Swanberg also is a fan of that version of Persuasion as well. Nothing wrong with the other ones, but I just enjoy the first versions better.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to say something about the Joe Wright Pride and Prejudice.
Okay.
When I saw it was getting amazing reviews. I saw it in the theater, and it just felt it felt almost cheesy to me. Like, this is why people make fun of Jane Austen
Right.
movies. Whereas the other ones, I don't know, it just felt more authentic, and I just connected to it more.
Mhm.
So, and the other one is Godzilla.
Yeah,
the one
the most
with
recent one,
Aaron
yeah.
Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was too long. I didn't care about any of the characters. It was just very like the stock characters,
Yeah.
where like the concerned wife that's just she just wants her family together,
Yeah.
and then you've got like the military guy, and it's just Bryan Cranston was the best part. And spoiler alert,
Yeah.
he's not in the. He's only in like 10 minutes or whatever.
And Godzilla's barely in it. You barely see him. And that's
Yeah.
when you want to see a monster movie. So the original Gojira, the Japanese version, is excellent because you see Godzilla all over. And then they Americanized it with Raymond Burr, which is basically they took a lot of clips and then just put Raymond Burr in it. It's very weird. So seriously, if you're ever going to see a Godzilla movie, see the very good Gojira, and it's the best.
Yeah, and the one that I don't like, it's basically just disaster porn. The last few minutes.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Great line.
Yeah.
We might do a disaster porn episode. That will click well. Yeah, that will click well. Just anything with porn in it. So, yeah.
Next one is The Departed. I don't think it's a bad movie. I'm just to remake the trilogy of Infernal Affairs, which is Infernal Affairs, that stretches 10 plus years. So you kind of get why both characters went so nuts and they got so embedded in their worlds and didn't know who they were anymore. And The Departed just seems like it's a totally different movie. And it's more about Boston and the culture rather than these two characters.
And the gangster Whitey Bulger. So, I always found it interesting they consider this a remake. But, I mean, based on the whole undercover, I get why they consider it.
Yeah. Other one I think is popular as a worst remake is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which was all about Tim Burton and nothing about the story or making it appealing to children. It just feels like
creepy Johnny Depp. And
it just felt like some masturbatory thing between Tim Burton and Johnny Depp.
Agreed.
It's like, what about us, the audience, that wants to connect with a story?
And that's why the original Willy Wonka worked so well. It was creepy, but still charming at the same time.
And just funny. The way this guy just doesn't give a shit about these kids and like their spoiled, dumb parents. Yeah.
But there's still a nice charm to him that I think is lost in the remake.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end, when he just kind of delights at how kind of pure-hearted Charlie is. I mean, you're like, okay, that's why he's such a kind of a dick to these kids.
Totally. He had to weed them out to get the diamond in the rough.
Yeah. And so my last one is Insomnia, the one with Al Pacino, Hilary Swank, and Robin Williams. I think if I hadn't seen the original Swedish one with Stellan Skarsgård, I wouldn't be dissing this one so much, but I really like the original Swedish one. And I feel like with this one they Americanized it in terms of they gave it a different ending that felt like it was kind of like we've got to like they kind of moralize it. They kind of put some kind of moral on it where it's got to be this way because of this. But the Swedish one was just kind of like, you know what?
This is what it is.
It's the world's shit, and this is what happens. So on that note,
we're going to end on that. So that's good. That's negative. We're going to go negative. Thank you so much, Josephine.
Yeah.
Samantha's back, and so last week we talked about her hatred of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because it can't touch the original, which was Willy Wonka. So now we're going to talk about our favorite remakes, or ones at least hold up to the original or are better. So what do you have for this week?
Okay. So as I mentioned, I have seen a lot of remakes or originals, but I haven't seen the other versions of them.
Right.
So I don't have like the full sense. But one of my, I wouldn't say favorite movies when I was younger, but I remember when Freaky Friday came out, the new one, and well, not the new one, no. But,
it's still the most recent.
Yeah, and like at the time, I didn't know it was based on anything original. So I think I went back and ended up finding the original, which was like cute enough. But I like the new one. It was modern. It had young Lindsay Lohan. And
that's one where I think even though I love the original, it's really stuck in the 70s.
Yeah.
So it would help to modernize it. And you still have Jamie Lee Curtis and things like that. So
yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is so great, and I think I was close. I was like in that age group with like Lindsay Lohan and the teenagers, and I just thought it was a really charming movie. I liked it. So I think
that one definitely holds up.
Yeah, it holds up. I haven't seen it in a while.
So
I should see it again.
I think Enrique and I were talking about Disney movies. So The Parent Trap. I don't know did you see the remake of The Parent Trap?
Oh, that was like my favorite movie when I was a kid.
The original or the remake?
The new one.
Okay, with Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, yeah.
So you like that one better than the original?
I don't think I saw the original.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you like old movies, too.
I know. Like, when I was a kid, I didn't watch a lot of old movies. I didn't start until I was, a teenager. So.
Yeah.
But, I think The Parent Trap, it was another one. It kind of came out when I was that age. So I saw it like loads and loads.
Yeah.
And loads. And, Lindsay Lohan, she's really grown up with me.
I know, it's true, I know. Oh. And then what about Herbie? Because they remade The Love Bug, too.
Oh, yeah,
and I think she was in that, too, right?
Yeah.
Don't tell me you like that one better than the original.
I don't know. I don't think I really cared for it anyway.
Okay, yeah.
when I did want
Either
a
one.
Volkswagen Beetle.
Everyone wanted to
But,
love
yeah.
that. Okay, so what other ones did you have?
Okay, so then we're going real girly today.
That's okay.
And I don't know if this really counts, but I thought about the 2005 version of Pride and Prejudice. It holds a special place in my heart.
Mhm.
I am a costume drama fanatic and an English literature fanatic. So when those two come together, it's like,
That is your...
I will be there. Book me a ticket. And so they've done like tons of versions of these.
Yeah.
So it is a book adaptation,
Sure.
and it's not an original story. I
Mhm.
kind of was thinking about The Great Gatsby too. It
Yeah.
was something, it was like, it was made,
Mhm.
like, I think like both of these books were adapted like in the 30s
Right.
or so. And
Mhm.
like, those versions haven't really stuck around
No.
at all. And then like they did the Pride and Prejudice version in the 90s, but it was a TV series.
Right.
So the first kind of like version, like full movie version, came out in 2005, and I thought it was just
You loved it.
beautifully done. Just everything about it, cinematography.
Now, who was in that
soundtrack.
version?
Keira Knightley,
Okay, yes. Okay, yeah.
and her sister is Rosamund Pike.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
kind of, I think it was before. Was that before her Bond?
I think you're right.
Oh, so, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to check on that. And then they had just a great cast of kind of older British actors. Is it like Michael Gambon plays their dad?
Mhm.
And it's not a perfect adaptation of the book, but it's a great film version, and there's a lot of people who are obsessed with the 90s one with like Colin Firth plays Mr. Darcy.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the 90s
As
one.
much.
I thought it feels like so dated, and it's really dry, and it is like a word for word adaptation of the book practically, but
And actually have lesser-known stars in this version. Maybe that's why it works. Well, Donald Sutherland's in it, and Jenna Malone.
oh, it's Donald Sutherland. Okay, not Gambon. But Jenna Malone, kind of when she was still doing
Mhm.
other stuff, and Judi Dench has a small
Oh, okay.
part.
Mhm.
So I love it.
Mhm.
Carey Mulligan's in this.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a really great cast, and the director Joe Wright has like gone on to do
Other
a
things,
bunch
yeah.
of
Mhm.
really pretty movies.
Was this his first, like, major?
I think he kind of went on to do a bunch of adaptations.
Mhm.
So he did, so this was kind of the first one. Then he did Atonement, and then Anna Karenina.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. Mhm.
I was like on that kind of.
So anytime a new adaptation, like classic adaptation, like costume adaptation comes out, you're going to see it no matter what?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah.
You are the audience for that.
But this is kind of his first kind of big movie.
I think the first time I saw Rosamund Pike was late, but I saw her in Jack Reacher, and I thought she was great in that. Like, I love that character.
She's a great actress.
Yeah, and I liked her in Gone Girl. I mean, that was such a great role. But yeah.
Yeah.
But that's great. Any other ones, or those are the main two?
That just came to mind. I didn't prepare very well.
Oh, edit that out. Come on. She's always prepared, folks. Thanks, Samantha.
Okay, thanks.
For this week's episode with Danielle, and of course she's laughing. She tries to hold it in before I do it, and never does. Okay, for this week, so last week we did our least favorite remakes. This week we are doing our favorite remakes. So what are your favorite remakes where you actually like them better than the original movies?
Okay. So I don't know if it's fair or not, but
We'll judge if it's fair or not.
so I didn't see the original. I heard about it.
That's okay, but you enjoy this movie, so you're happy they remade it.
So like The Fly
From
that I
1986?
talked 2 weeks ago.
The one that you saw like at 8 years old?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I really like it.
Do you still watch it?
Yeah, no, actually, it's been a while. But I like it, that movie very well, very much. And people say it's good. Like,
it's
compare
just,
it.
yeah, it's completely different. It's more graphic and gory than the original, obviously, because the original was made in 1958.
Wow.
So you can only show so many things. And so whereas 1986 technology is better and they could be more graphic with the violence and everything.
Yes.
So that's a good one.
Okay. And there's also King Kong.
So there's a ton of King Kong remakes. So the original came out in 1933.
No.
So which one? So I'm guessing you like the one that's like 4 hours long.
Yes.
The one with Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
The guy who directed it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I still haven't seen that one. I've seen the remake from 1977.
Oh my God, it's been a long time that I don't watch that, but I remember I really like that one. Like Godzilla, I know they have so many remakes, but I like it as well. The remakes,
but it wasn't too long for you. I mean, it was a long movie.
Godzilla?
No, King Kong.
No.
Because I know they're doing another movie, Skull Island, that's coming out soon for King Kong.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's coming out this year.
I saw it in the theater, like something.
The preview.
Yes. So those are my. There's more.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, some like it hot. That movie.
They remade that?
The original is a French movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. So yes, I love that movie.
The one with Jack Lemmon and Marilyn Monroe.
Yes, she's great.
She is great.
I don't know why people criticizing her acting because she's really good.
She was very good.
And I watched that. It's like I think I watched it again last month or so.
Great movie.
I still laughing. I still like loving the movie. Yes.
That's a terrific. I didn't see. I learned something today. I didn't realize it was a remake.
Yes.
So have you seen the French version?
No.
Okay. But.
No. But everybody said, not everybody, but many people say it's better
than
the English or the American version.
Is better. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any more?
No, that's it.
Great job, Danielle. You only laughed a little.
Just a little.
Just a little. Thank you. Okay, for this week's episode, we did last week, we did bad remakes. This week, we're going to do remakes that at least hold up as well as the original. So Stephanie is back, and she's got a few good ones.
Hey, guys. So nice to talk to you guys. Hi, Brian. Good to be here.
Yeah.
So, my first remake that it's like it's one of my all-time favorite films is The Birdcage.
Oh, yeah.
With Robin Williams and Nathan Lane.
Yes.
I love that film so much. And The Kaja Fall, while it's a good film, I think The Birdcage is far better.
Yeah.
You've got Gene Hackman. You've got Diane Wiest.
Yeah.
And it is spectacular.
Yeah.
And it's Robin Williams, I think, at his finest.
Right.
I can watch that movie again and again and again. It's one of those films that can be on in the background, and I'm happy.
That's a good one. Nobody's picked that. And that's good. Because there are a lot of foreign films that were remade as U.S., and they just don't hold up as well. But there's one that's actually better.
It's so good. And then the guy from, the Helen Hunt, Paul Reiser sitcom, Mad About You. The butler, the butler. Well, he plays the butler in a scene, but he's one of the supporting characters. He's a character actor. You know him. And he plays this Latin housekeeper. And he is hilarious in that movie. And to this day, we quote some of his lines from the film. They make him wear shoes. He's always barefoot.
It's not John Pankow?
No, who is it? He was in Mad About You with Helen Hunt.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Oh, it's killing me. What's his name? It's going to drive me crazy.
It's not Richard Kind.
You edit, right? So we're not driving the people crazy.
No, I'm going to do this a lot. Louis Zorich.
Nathan Lane. Hank Azaria.
Oh, yeah.
Hank Azaria plays the Latin butler, the Latin housekeeper, and he's barefoot all the time. And then, when they're going to do the ruse where he has to dress up like a formal butler and he has to wear shoes, he's never worn shoes before.
He does not.
And so he's tripping all over the place. He can't walk, and he's always going, it's the shoes. It's the shoes, boss. It's the shoes. And so we have this phrase in our house, it's the shoes. Yeah, I love The Birdcage. You must see The Birdcage.
He's made quite a career just doing Simpsons stuff because he's like 5 or 6 different, or maybe more, voices on The Simpsons.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Hank Azaria.
He's so
it's
good.
Really great. I don't know anything about him personally, so if he's naughty behind closed doors,
right? Yes.
Forgive me.
So Birdcage.
Yes, Birdcage. I love Ocean's 11. I love the original. I love the original. The original is badass.
Yeah.
You've got Sammy Davis. You've got Frank. It's really cool. But the Brad Clooney mix works for me.
And I think the actual movie is better. Like the plot is better. I don't think the original movie was that good. It's just it's cool seeing all those actors in one. But the remake is actually a better movie. I think it's more fun to watch.
I love it. Oh no, I love everything about Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
And I loved Ocean's 12, and then I didn't see Ocean's 13.
13's, if you like Al Pacino and Andy Garcia, they actually hook up with Andy Garcia to defeat Al Pacino. So it might be worth checking out.
But I also love the way, George and Brad, they always do this in their films.
Yeah.
They don't pick the young ingenue.
Mm-mm.
You know, the female lead is always strong.
Yeah.
You know, she's a little bit older.
Yeah. Joy Roberts, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes,
yeah.
and I love that about their films.
Yeah.
They take female actresses seriously,
Yeah.
and they bring somebody in that can really hold up,
Yeah.
and I love that. It's
I
not
do
a, you know, breasts and tushy, you know.
Well, that's why I
thing.
really liked, did you ever see Red?
Yes.
So when they had Helen Mirren,
Yes.
she was the main character.
Which
in
was
that.
perfect
Yeah.
in that movie.
Mhm.
So when directors have the guts to
To
tell
do
their
it.
casting directors
It
to,
works.
you know, cast appropriately, I
Yeah.
think it works.
I
As opposed
totally-
to, what was the movie recently where Jennifer Lawrence is playing a woman that's like, oh, Joy Mangano.
Yeah.
She's playing Joy Mangano. I mean, she's like 10, and she's playing this woman. And all due respect to Jennifer Lawrence, it was a good movie.
Sure.
And she was great in that movie. But, I mean, come on. This is a role for somebody in there.
That's right.
You know, mid-30s, late 30s, early 40s. I mean, a lot of Botox, early 40s. Could have pulled that off. I'm just saying.
No, I think, yeah, Hollywood's very short-sighted, and they should really, like, you don't just die at 35. You know, they still got their chops.
And I know also there's that relationship, right? Jennifer Lawrence, and what's the director's name? He does all his films with her.
Yeah,
I forget the guy. Russell. Russell, I think is the director's name, and he does all those films. So I get it. They're a
nice relationship, but
whatever.
I agree. No, don't just put people out to pasture.
Long live Ocean's 11.
That's right. Thanks, Steph. Okay, so we're back this week with Malin, and this week we're going to talk about our favorite remakes. So hopefully you have a few, because as we've established from last week, there's a lot of bad ones. So
yeah. It's funny because remakes, usually I think my default position is to think, okay, I'm going to be in for a stinker.
Yeah.
You know, what could, you know, it's just an excuse for Hollywood to make a movie because they couldn't possibly be bothered to come up with a new idea.
Exactly.
But it's interesting because, you know, the more I think about it, Hollywood has always kind of had that as a model. Like in the early decades of cinema.
They were remaking movies all the time.
Yeah, they were just, you know, pillaging a book and they'd throw it on the screen. Or really it seems like the material that they were siphoning from was like Broadway or like the stage. So you'd have like these cinema pieces based on stage plays.
Right.
So, you know.
That's a good point. And you could totally tell, too, that they were from Broadway. Because,
sometimes because there'd be one set.
Exactly.
Like,
and very talky and
all right, so for favorite remakes, I do have a few. Okay, so Fargo. This is interesting for me because legitimately there hasn't been a remake of the film.
Right.
But there's a TV series spin-off.
Yeah.
So now we have to think not just about remakes but about reboots and spin-offs.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wasn't expecting to like the TV series.
Sure.
Because I've been watching a bunch of stuff on TV and like these anthology series that started with American Horror Story, which is that series that I want to like but basically hate.
So this one will be good. Eventually we're going to do a movie to TV show.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I'll probably
But this is a great
then.
one, because a lot of people love the TV show.
Yeah, Fargo. I was expecting... I don't know what I was expecting at this point. I don't know if I was expecting to like it, because like I say, you're kind of expecting to go into remakes or reboots and have it be like a stinker, and this wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, you could... I think I grew to appreciate how much of the plot was parallel in the TV series to the movie.
Right.
And by the time you get to the end of that first series, it turns out not to be a total cop-out. There is a reward to it.
Sure.
But what I like about the second series, and I'm hoping that they continue with the third series, was that they didn't, in the second series, retread ground from the film. Instead, where they grew and developed was on areas of the first series that didn't have that kind of strong overlap.
Right.
They took the original content from the first series and they expanded on that in interesting ways.
Which
I'm
is cool.
hoping that what we'll see in the third series is original content that doesn't necessarily overlap too much with the movie or the first series is where they really, really grow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll have references and resonances back to the film and the first series. And second series at this point. Oh, God, it's already on a third series.
Okay,
right.
so
but they've been really good up to this point. So I'm hoping that they are able to continue that trajectory and momentum.
Yeah,
into new material.
I've never talked to anyone that didn't like this series, so this should be good.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. So that's a Coen Brothers spinoff. Now, so for my next one, Coen Brothers remake. So last week I mentioned that I thought they shat all over the Ealing Studio to remake The Lady Killers.
That's
but
right.
I thought they did a really honorable job of remaking True Grit.
Absolutely.
So I know that they've got it in them. Actually, I mean, I adore them. I know they have it in them to make gold out of just about anything.
Yeah.
So The Lady Killers is this kind of weird standout, I hope.
Yeah.
But True Grit was a fully satisfying cinema experience. It was a lot of fun to watch. And then, was it Jeff Bridges, I guess?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Matt Damon.
Yeah, but
Josh
Jeff
Brolin,
Bridges just eats up the scenery. And, loving him in The Big Lebowski, it's great to see him in another Coen Brothers film where he's just playing like top of his game. And I wonder...
Because there's a lot of almost... I wouldn't say comedy, but it's definitely lighthearted in the John Wayne version. I think a lot less... It's totally dark in the Coen Brothers version.
Yeah.
Which is good, because then they really kind of stand by themselves. They stand alone, and you can like each one for its own merit,
Right. So I think maybe they had more... the True Grit, at least to me, feels like more of a homage than a trampling.
Exactly. So, good point.
So I really do like that one. Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, that's true. From the early 80s or late 70s.
So in there somewhere, but
Donald Sutherland's in the remake,
he is.
right? Yeah,
Donald Sutherland and one of the best scream queens ever, and I keep forgetting her name. Keep wanting to call her Carrie Fisher, and she's not. She was in Alien. She was in The Witches of Eastwick as well.
Oh.
What is her name? It's going to drive me crazy. Okay, Brian's looking this up, and I'm just going to keep chattering on. But the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, it's weird because the first film is so interesting.
It is, yeah.
And fun
Kevin
to watch.
McCarthy, yeah.
Exactly. But the remake does a really great job of centering it in the present day. It doesn't feel like a total rehash or that there was no excuse for revisiting the story, and it's really successful.
So was it Brooke Adams?
No.
Okay, Veronica Cartwright?
Yes, Veronica Cartwright.
Oh, yeah.
She's so interesting as a character actress, and great as like a character scream queen, if there is such a thing.
She was in The Birds. I didn't realize that.
In The Birds.
She was the little girl.
She was in so many things that you wouldn't necessarily expect. I remember that I knew that at one point.
She was the little girl that I think found the teacher. Like, the teacher saved her. Suzanne Pleshette died.
Running down the road.
Yeah, that's crazy. Good one.
Yeah, Veronica Cartwright doesn't get the credit that she deserves.
That's right. She was the mom in Flight of the Navigator. Okay, now we're now we're really going off a tangent.
Yeah, but Invasion of the Body Snatchers is fantastic, and as one of, I think, horror cinema's greatest final shots.
Yeah.
It's and it, maybe even that movie probably could have been nominated. Was it nominated for any stuff?
I don't know.
I know we did Oscars a couple weeks ago, but that's a really good one.
That is a good one. I think horror remakes, it definitely it used to happen a lot. I mean, you go through all the Dracula.
And now going from, especially recently, there were a lot of importing Japanese horror through the remake channel.
Right,
which
like The
was
Ring.
Weird. Ring and The Grudge and all of those. I don't know that they necessarily improved. I certainly didn't include any of those on either of my lists. Another horror film, Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
So that's one where you could say it's a remake, but it's still kind of its own original content because the musical had its own life in off Broadway, but it was based on the film, and then it came back and became a movie.
Jack Nicholson was in the first one, right?
He was, he had kind of a cameo, but I think that was his first film, so you can't really call it a cameo. He was just like a speaking extra.
Yeah.
But because he was in it, and I think when it became part of the public domain, the people who got a hold of it and wanted to sell it were like, Jack Nicholson! And so you watch this really, really weird, low as hell budget Roger Corman flick, and he's in like 2 minutes of
Yeah.
it.
Well, it's kind of like what they did with a lot of Marilyn Monroe movies after she got big. Like her early films, they would really kind of base it around her, but she's barely, she's like a secretary or something like that in certain movies. And they try to think the whole movie's about her. You watch her, she's barely in it.
But
But Little Shop of Horrors is great.
Marketing.
Yeah, the remake's really good. It's fun.
Yeah, so, the cinematic version, I've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
I like the cinematic version, okay, but I love the original director's cut. If you can see that, it's much darker. It's much more honest to the tone of the Corman original, as well as to the off-Broadway version. The one that ended up in the cinemas is just kind of a weird, based on a happy ending for the... Anyway, I've bitched and moaned about that enough. So this last one that I'm going to mention isn't exactly a remake, but I'm kind of considering it a remake.
Okay.
Rogue One. Now, the reason that I'm citing this is because as far as like my canonical understanding of the Star Wars franchise goes, I'm really happy with Rogue One because it allows me to forget that the prequels were even made. So in the sense that it overwrites the prequels, I'm considering it a reboot or a remake. So I don't even have to watch the 3 prequels anymore. I've got Rogue One. That satisfies all interest that I have before Star Wars A New Hope or the original trilogy, however you want to regard it. So I'm going to throw in Rogue One.
That's fair.
And be rebellious.
I think that's good. I think you're the only one that's going to mention that too. So
I think so too, because I'm cheating there.
That's
I'm cheating.
Cool. Thank you, man.
Okay.
Okay, Enrica's back.
Hi!
And for this week's episode, we're going to talk about our favorite movie remakes. So last week we did our least favorite. Now we're going to do our favorite. So what do you have?
I have a couple. We had kind of just talked a little bit about the 101 Dalmatians, which was not on my original list, but is one of my favorite live action remakes of an animated film.
Yeah, Glenn Close is great.
Because of Glenn freaking Close. And Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, I forgot.
It's so good. I love Glenn. There will be never a better Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, no, she nailed it.
She nailed it.
Yeah.
She was so good. And the molasses. And, Hugh Laurie was hilarious. And the doggies. You gotta love real puppies.
Absolutely.
They're so much better than not real puppies. And she did creepy really well in like a cartoonish way. She did cartoonish really well.
Yeah.
And unlike Beauty and the Beast, there was no singing.
That's true.
Which I'm excited for.
That is a good point. It was kind of like the earlier Disney movies didn't have... I mean, they would have singing in them, but not like
the super
90s.
Early ones.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about like Snow White, which was one of the first ones, there was some singing, but
not like the whole movie.
Yeah, it wasn't like a musical. It was just like, this is a character. Part of her character is that she sings.
Right.
And she likes to talk to animals. She may or may not be crazy.
Right. That's a good point. So what are the other ones that you had?
So I really love Parent Trap.
Oh, yeah.
Good old Lindsay Lohan.
That's
she
right.
really brought it home. And it was one of like the remakes that was made that people don't really think about the original that much.
True.
And that's usually a good sign of the remake. Like they did a good job. And it was kind of it's like a movie of my generation.
Right.
People my age love Parent Trap.
Right. Did you actually watch the Haley Mills version?
I did. I watched that one after I saw the remake. Though.
Right.
So I had already fallen in love with the remake. And that kind of makes it hard. You're like, no, it wasn't a remake. Because remakes always have that like negative connotation.
Sure. I think there was enough time in between. It was a good 30 years. Maybe.
Yeah, the first one's old.
It's in the 60s. And then did you like the remake of Freaky Friday?
Nah.
Do you like the Jodie Foster version?
Yeah. I don't know. I was okay. It was too campy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't like that age of Lindsay Lohan either.
Yeah.
It was kind of when she started to get a little more promiscuous in her behavior.
Right.
And
less Disney.
Was still trying. Like, cool, if you're going to be promiscuous, I don't give a damn.
Sure. Yeah.
But, like, when you're trying to be wholesome when that's not who you are, it's kind of like... It's forced.
Right. Just do Mean Girls. And
do Mean Girls. Do any of those other, like, kind of, like, don't say a bad word.
Wasn't she in a teen pregnancy movie?
Was she?
I think it was like a straight to DVD one.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, she was in a lot of ones. But there was a while there where she was like in Herbie Fully Loaded.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That was a remake too.
Yeah.
And Freaky Friday and a couple movies that were like campy. And she was in her like personal life and just in her identity was evolving into a much more mature, like wanted to do more like dark, sexy movies. And it just was really, you could tell that the character, super forced. But, Parent Trap was great. And then they kind of typecast her as, like, adorable redhead remix old movies. And it didn't work after she'd already evolved out of that image. But, so that was one. And it's great.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. And then Peter Pan, the 2003 version.
Okay.
Was really good. It was basically like a live-action version of the Disney cartoon.
Right.
But it was magical. Like the way they recreated the vibe.
Yeah.
And the young boy they cast was really good. He was like super energetic and compelling. And and it's a great story. I love,
did you
James
see Hook?
Barry. I love Hook.
Yeah. It's not a strict remake. So
I could watch Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams do anything.
Yeah.
They were so good.
They were.
The VHS I had was ripped off of the TV version.
Oh, yeah.
And cuts off like in the middle of the sword fight.
Oh my god.
So I actually never know how it ended.
Aww.
I watched it probably like 50 times.
That's
but
the
VHS we had, I have no idea how it ends.
Which reminds me, my parents always listen, of a famous story in our family with the jazz singer with Neil Diamond. So my uncle taped it off HBO. And then in the middle of the movie, somebody switched the station.
No!
And we got the Lou Grant show for about 10 minutes. So there's parts of the jazz singer we didn't know for years, but it doesn't matter. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny how that just, with VHS and those movies, that's your psyche. That was the one copy you had, and that's what you kept watching.
Over and over. And it would get like breaks in it, and it would get all messed up where you didn't finish recording, and it would get cut off. Yeah,
that was like that on like music too. Like if you recorded it off the radio and they cut it off, you only knew a certain point.
Yeah, or if you missed the first, like if you had this is what I did. I had a tape deck.
Yeah,
and I would record them off the radio, and if you missed the first 10 seconds because you're like, oh, it's on, and you run in and you go to hit record on the tape deck. You're like, damn, I don't actually know the first few lines of that song.
I know, but you don't see kids. You don't know what you deal with now.
I'm a kid, but I grew up in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. So. you're a. I don't even know what's.
I'm an old soul.
You're an old soul. That's the one I was looking for. So,
yeah.
Yes.
Peter Pan, 101 Dalmatians, Parent Trap. Those are all my faves.
Those are excellent.
Not Herbie Fully Loaded.
Not Herbie. No, you gotta leave.
Not Freaky Friday.
No.
Sorry, Lindsay.
Thanks, Enrica.
No problem.
Okay, so last week with David, we did bad remakes.
Boo.
This week, we're going to try to do remakes that at least hold up to the original, or if not better, they were still very enjoyable. They weren't just crap like the ones we were talking about last week.
Totally.
So, what are your favorite remakes?
Let's see. I'll just go with the classic reboot of Batman.
Yeah,
got really shitty, and then it got really good.
Yes, it did.
And now it's kind of 50-50.
Actually, that could have been the bad ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Or Superman.
Yeah. Because Batman was just ran into the ground with Batman and Robin,
Schumacher,
and then it was in limbo for almost a decade, and then with the Christian Bale, Chris Nolan reboot, it was just it's so different. And then
Batman kind of killed superhero movies for a long time until Spider-Man kind of came, or X-Men, kind of helped it. But.
Oh, now I remember another shitty reboot. The Fantastic Four reboot was really shitty.
That's one of the worst.
Yeah. Oh, that's so bad. I guess don't
we
even
just
talk
totally
about it.
Yeah.
Even
the director hated it.
I know.
Bad mouth it.
But yeah.
So Batman Begins.
Batman Begins is I think that's everyone's go-to of this is you can remake a good thing and start it over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that might be one of the best trilogies. One of them.
I didn't
as a whole.
I didn't like 3.
No, but like all 3, because you're gonna have a stinker in most trilogies. So whether it be Back to the Future, I mean, a lot of people don't like 3.
I would consider Batman Dark Knight Rises to be the Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
Totally. Like it has its defenders, but it's not a good movie.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely Batman.
Yeah. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, this is perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
I just rewatched The Fly last night.
Oh yeah.
And the 1986 version.
Jeff Goldblum.
With Jeff Goldblum and power couple at the time, Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis.
That's right.
Oh, they were so hot. But yeah, it was an amazing reboot, and like it took kind of the premise of the first one, but then like just completely like made it really super dark and messed up,
so graphic
and really gross. But it was still like at the heart of it, a story about experimenting and science and like this relationship of these two people, and then Jeff Goldblum's like meaning of like, well, the more he turns into a fly, how much human is left in him.
That's right.
It's such a fucking good movie.
Well, that's where like those classic horror movies, there was enough time, so like the special effects obviously got way better. So whether it be Malin picked Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I think the second Blob was pretty good, and definitely The Fly. The
Blob remake was another that kind of overshadowed the first.
Mm-hmm. Some people really like The Thing too, like from the Kurt Russell version.
I always forget that was a remake.
Yeah.
It's funny that Malin brought up Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because then they keep rebooting that series.
Yeah.
And the last one was just called The Invasion.
I think
with like James Bond and Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
And that was just like, it had like a weird kind of like boring sheen to it, and like, that was just a boring movie.
Yeah.
But this is the
good one. I know we always have to get negative, but so that's the
1986 Fly was fucking awesome.
And the arm wrestling scene, I remember, just freaked me out as a kid.
So it was funny because I just watched it, and it's always talked about and remembered as a lot grosser.
Sure.
But I mean, maybe I was just like, I don't know, like I'm in a weird place right now. But I was like, I mean, it's gross, like that baboon's inside out. It's just. I mean, it is disgusting, but at the same time, if you can like remove yourself enough and just be like, that's amazing makeup and like creature effects, and like the more Jeff Goldblum turns into the monster, it's so.
Keep in mind, I was like 10 at the time, so I was totally freaked out. Like,
I was born at the time.
There you go.
Yeah, that's why I have such an affinity for it.
Oh yeah, I just remember talking about it at school, like them explaining it to me. I'm like, I got to see this, but it sounds amazingly gross. So, Okay, so what other ones do?
One of Zack Snyder's only good movies, Dawn of the Dead.
Oh yeah,
that was a remake.
Mm-hmm.
It was during the height of the reboot Fast Zombie craze.
That's right.
And I mean, it was, as far as like reboot goes, it still kind of held a lot of the same of Dawn of the Dead, of like the whole mall and like what that means of like like humanity's like remnants, whatever.
Right.
But I don't know. It was like cool, updated, kind of
it held up.
Fast zombies, like cool action, like it was a good remake. I don't know. Nothing really good or bad about it.
Right.
It was just fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like good popcorn zombie movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, what other ones?
I just had it. The remake of Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the 2009 one,
mm-hmm.
and the reboot for Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah,
both of those are actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're all the same studio, Platinum Dunes. I think
mm-hmm.
it was all like, kind of the same, like sexy teens, but like dirtied up.
Yeah.
The Texas Chainsaw one was. I remember it being a little bit better. The Friday the 13th one though definitely has like a lot of defenders and stuff.
Yeah.
But they were just like good remakes as far as it's just like same thing but
mm-hmm.
made now. So
here's one. I don't know. Did you ever see I Spit on Your Grave?
Remake? Oh, I didn't see the remake. I saw the original.
The original is awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really gritty. So I'm curious to see if the sequel or the reboot like holds true to it. But yeah.
And then it's funny, all these horror remakes. But,
I know.
The Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
That remake was really good,
mm-hmm.
and kind of the same thing of just like pretty much like kept the same formula, but just remade it with new people now, and
they
like
remake horror films a
yeah,
lot.
And The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah,
that remake was really good and like really fucked up.
Yeah.
The reboot sequel, Hills Have Eyes 2, was kind of fell into like, even though it had a theatrical release, it kind of felt more like a straight to DVD kind of thing. Yeah. The first Hills Have Eyes remake was pretty good.
Yeah.
For a remake, but.
Those are all good. So we had more. Actually, I'm surprised. I came up with more favorites than I did bad ones.
Yeah,
I know there's so many bad ones. I just can't.
Yeah, they're all out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool. Thanks, David.
Yay.
All right. Thanks to everyone who agreed to be interviewed. All right. So I have a bunch more to go through, and I'll try to go through them quickly. No particular order. Brewster's Millions. Interestingly enough, Brewster's Millions has been made as a movie 6 times prior to the 1985 version starring Richard Pryor and John Candy. The original story is based on a 1902 novel by George Barr McCutcheon about a man who receives a large inheritance from his great uncle, but there's a twist. Brewster can either take a small portion, $1 million, of the inheritance up front or forgo the remaining fortune, or he can attempt to spend $30 million in 30 days in order to receive $300 million. The idea is to make Brewster hate money so much in those 30 days that it won't change him for the worst if he accomplishes the goal and receives the full inheritance. Richard Pryor's excellent as Monty Brewster, and I always enjoyed that his character was a minor league baseball pitcher. His best friend Spike, played by John Candy, is a terrific sidekick in Brewster's quest to accomplish his goal. True Grit. The original True Grit, starring John Wayne, is a classic and is one of his best-known movies. And that version had elements of comedy sprinkled in and was even lighthearted at times. Now, the 2010 remake by the Coen brothers is dark, to say the least, and the humor is few and far between. Actually, I sort of like the more straight-ahead approach of the remake, which gives each version its own place in history. Now, the remake is stellar, with Jeff Bridges playing Rooster Cogburn, along with Haley Steinfeld, Matt Damon, and Josh Brolin. There aren't many movies where I own both the original and the remake, but both versions of True Grit are worthy of any movie collection. Rat Race. Rat Race is essentially a modern version of It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, only an hour shorter. Mad was originally 3 hours long. The simple plot involves 6 teams of people racing against each other to find a duffel bag filled with $2 million. Now, the remake stars Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, John Cleese, Whoopi Goldberg, Cuba Gooding Jr., Seth Green, John Lovitz, Breckin Meyer, and Amy Smart. Basically, I think for today's audiences that aren't willing to sit through a 3-hour classic movie like It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, I think we'll appreciate Rat Race a lot more, and it's honestly just as fun. Move Over Darling. Move Over Darling is a remake of the screwball comedy My Favorite Wife, which starred Cary Grant and Irene Dunne. My Favorite Wife came out in 1940, and Move Over Darling came out in 1963. In the remake, the stars are Doris Day and James Garner. Often it's tough for the remake to match the quality of the original, but in this case, both movies are equally stellar, and of course, the main stars are all excellent. I think that's why the remake works so well, because Doris Day and James Garner, to me, are as good as Cary Grant and Irene Dunne. So like the original, the plot basically remains the same, with James Garner believing that his wife, Doris Day, is dead after being lost at sea from an airplane crash. On the day when his wife is declared legally dead, Garner is going to proceed with marrying a new woman. However, these plans are complicated when Day shows up, alive, to her original home where Garner still lives. Mr. Deeds. So Mr. Deeds is a remake of Frank Capra's Mr. Deeds Goes to Town from 1936. The premise of the movie is the same as the original. Adam Sandler, who I love, plays the Gary Cooper role of a small-town business owner who inherits $40 billion from a recently deceased uncle. Winona Ryder plays the Jean Arthur role as a reporter trying to get the scoop on Deeds. The new twist is Deeds' butler, played by John Turturro, who is always awesome. And Steve Buscemi as Crazy Eyes is really funny. As for which movie to see first, well, it sort of depends on your viewing habits. As you already know, and you've heard from my movie collection, I love classic films, so I'm always partial to the originals. However, if you're into silly and fun comedies, the Sandler version should appease you. But even if you see the 2002 version, I still recommend the original. No Way Out. So No Way Out from 1987 is a thriller starring Kevin Costner, Gene Hackman, and Sean Young. It's also a loose remake of The Big Clock from 1948. And I've always been a big fan of Costner. However, I will absolutely see any film with Gene Hackman in it because he never disappoints. Costner plays a Navy commander who becomes involved with a woman, that's Sean Young, who is involved with a high-powered politician played by Hackman. I could explain more about the film, but there would be a terrific spoiler alert, and I'm going to avoid that. In any case, the acting is terrific, the story is enthralling, so check this movie out, and then go back and watch The Big Clock so you can see the similarities. So Fatal Attraction, it's not really a remake, but there's a lot of similarities between Fatal Attraction and Play Misty for Me. Play Misty for Me was a Clint Eastwood movie, and it's basically essentially the same premise where he has a one-night stand with a woman, he thinks it's over, but then the woman definitely doesn't treat it as a one-night stand and becomes a stalker. So both movies are definitely worth checking out, though both of them stand on their own. I wouldn't call Fatal Attraction a remake, but to me it was close enough and definitely worth bringing up. So lastly is You've Got Mail, and so this is one of the ultimate romantic comedies starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, and is definitely a remake of The Shop Around the Corner. Corner starred Jimmy Stewart and Margaret Sullivan, and ironically, the updated version of Mail is now forever woefully dated, as the main source of communication between Hanks and Ryan is through AOL, hence the title You've Got Mail. Oh, how I miss those American Online mailings with the CD-ROM to update the latest version. None of these fancy instant downloads you kids are so fond of. Anyway, the movie is cute and harmless fun with a quality supporting cast of Parker Posey, Gene Stapleton, Greg Kinnear, Steve Zahn, Dave Chappelle, and Dabney Coleman. If you enjoy this podcast and are an iTunes user, please do the show a favor and head on over to the official iTunes page for Damn Good Movie Memories. Be sure to leave a rating and a review. This will allow the show to appear higher in the algorithm and spread the joy of this podcast to the masses. If you are not an iTunes user, you can still listen and subscribe on Podbean at damngoodmoviememories.podbean.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook under our Damn Good Movie Memories page. You can also listen to a limited number of episodes on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and be sure to tune in next week for an all-new episode of Damn Good Movie Memories.